Welcome to H2K Infosys. H2K Infosys is a e-verify business based in Atlanta, Georgia, United States. We provide 100% job-oriented, instructor-led, face-to-face, true live online software training programs. It also includes access to cloud test lab with software tools. We provide live project for you to work on. We also provide assistance with mock interviews, resume preparation and review, and job placement assistance. H2K Infosys is trusted by so many students across the world. H2K Infosys provides world-class services in IT training with real-time project work for corporates and individuals, special IT training for MS students in the United States, software design, development, QA manual and automation, performance testing and maintenance, IT staff augmentation, job placement assistance, and tech support.
So it's not required for you to go for request.get parameter of usernames or password or designation or any kind of information. You can directly get the form bean, which was already populated by Struts framework. That's the reason you are supposed to extend one class for your form bean, nothing but action form class. Your action, whenever the controller has received by the action class, it has the access to all your form beans, or it has the access to the form bean, whichever you have mentioned. Once you got the form bean, you can just contact the database. Normally, that's how any application will be. You will be going to contact the database. You can write any number of components at this level, like your login processor or your DAO access, and which will interact with the database. And finally, whatever the form bean that you have received, it will traverse in the same way. It will traverse just like back to action, back to controller, and back to your JSP page, final JSP page. But when you are sending the request back to the JSP page, this JSP has access to your form bean now. That means, see, currently you have sent employee username and password all the way to the database, and now you are going to set the model because you are going to query the database and you are going to get the details based on username and password, and you have prepared the employee object now. Nothing but your employee form bean. So ultimately, your employee form bean was supposed to transfer back to the JSP for display purpose. That's what we are doing until now. So your JSP, either it was supposed to go to success page or failure page. It will be, again, depends on strutsconfig.xml file. So within your action, you will specify, within your login processor, you are deciding whether it is a success forward or a failure forward. So when here you are not going to specify the JSP page directly, you are going to specify a string value like either it is a success page or failure page. The corresponding page information will be available in strutsconfig.xml file. And when you have specified that, go to success page, forward the request from my action class, or let us say action class has already processed all the requests to the model, and it was now processing the request back to the controller. So the controller sees whether it is a success response or failure response. The controller will look into strutsconfig.xml file again and identifies what is the JSP that needs to be forwarded based on the string value that was sent by the action class. So that means you are going to specify that mapping again within your strutsconfig.xml file for your success and failure pages. So based on that information, your controller will forward the request to that particular JSP page, and the JSP page access to your form bean, by using which you can display the data. Your JSP Struts has provided 3 tag libraries. Struts tag libraries, we can call them. First one is Struts beans tag library, which is used to work on the form beans. Struts logic tag library for logic. Struts HTML tag library. The basic HTML tag library, so you can say the normal basic HTML, like HTML form, text boxes, check boxes, buttons and all. They have extended and they have created a separate tag library for enhancement. So you are not supposed to use the basic HTML tag library, basic HTML, and you are supposed to use only Struts HTML. We'll see what is the necessity for Struts HTML. Why can't we use normal HTML? So here the controller, it extends one class, which is, here the controller itself is provided by the framework, which is nothing but your action servlet. And when you are writing the actions, you are supposed to extend one class, action class, and you need to override execute method. When you are writing the form bean, you are supposed to extend one class, nothing but your action form class. There are several usages why we are doing the action form. The first one we have already seen, and we'll see the rest of the usages later. Model, main purpose is for business logic. View for GUI representation. Controller handles all requests from the user and select the appropriate view based on the configuration file. The 5 steps. Action servlet receives the request from the web browser. That is the first step. Controller look into struts.config.xml file and identifies the corresponding action and also identifies the form bean as well. And finally, it will dispatch the request to the action class. The action class execute method will be called by the controller, and action class process the request with the help of model. Model nothing but your business logic, and also your form bean will also consist under the same level. Finally, model will contact the database and retrieves the information, and it will send it back to the action class, and action class will forward either success or failure information to the controller, and your controller will verify in struts.config.xml file and identifies what is the JSP page that needs to be declared. Your JSP has access to any of the tag libraries, by using which you can display the content of the form bean, and also you can make sure that you are using only Struts HTML tag library but not the basic HTML elements. So once after knowing the Struts architecture, you guys will be able to understand this particular stuff. From the browser, forget about filter, receives the action servlet, request will be received by the action servlet, and action servlet will create an instance of action class, and the rest of the code is same. So that means for our code, for our existing code, whatever that we have followed, anyway we have separate processor, separate hybrid access, and also JSP pages as well. All that you need to do is you just need to remove this particular part, the container part, and you need to place action classes at this level, and you need to write struts config.xml file. You need to map correctly which action will be mapped to which URI. Based on that only, your action servlet will choose the correct action class and executes the method. Yep.
Sorry, Krish, I posted a query in the chat. What was that arrow for the model JSP?
Model, that's what we are just forwarding the data from model to, we're forwarding the data to the JSP page. That's the reason I have placed. There is no actual association between those two.
Okay, because there is no direct relationship, right?
Oh yeah, there is no direct relationship. It was supposed to go like this only, but my intention is here to specify the form bean was passed back to the JSP page.
I thought the way we store the model in the JSP, I thought in the model also we store the JSP information. No, right?
No, yeah, no.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. We are discussing about Struts configuration XML file. So currently our web.xml is just live, pass on to our action servlet. All the work will be done by our struts config.xml file. There are only 6 or 7 elements within our struts config XML file. The root element is struts config, and the next one is action mappings. Action mappings, inside it will consist of several actions. Why it consists of several actions? Because we are supposed to provide the definition for all the actions like login action, register action, employee servlet action. So within your action mappings, you are going to specify all your actions. For each action, you are going to specify the forward element. The purpose of forward element is, previously we have specified that your struts config.xml was supposed to identify what is the JSP page that needs to be forwarded based on the string. So that mapping will be specified by using forward element. So the forward element will consist of a path and name. Name is nothing but name that will be specified in your action class, path nothing but your actual JSP page. One thing to remember is whenever you are writing the path value within your struts config.xml, it should start with a slash, or else your struts framework will go and throw an error exception. Your action will consist of several attributes. Name nothing but your action name. No, not the action name. We'll come back to name again. Type is nothing but your actual action class, fully qualified class name. Scope nothing but either it is request scope or session scope. We'll come back to name property. It is of different usage. Global forward. See, currently we have specified about a forward here. Let us say for each and every action, we have a success and error page, and error page will redirect to only the main page each and every time. Then there is no need for you to specify the forward for each action class, and you can specify a global forward. So that means error, it's not required for you to specify at each and every action class, and if struts was not able to find the action, the corresponding forward within your action, then it will verify your global forward, and if it was available, it will make use of that. Message resources, which is used for properties file configuration. Struts also supports internationalization. Nothing but you can use different languages. Internationalization support means you can make use of the GUI for different languages, and Struts will automatically choose the corresponding properties file. Plugin. Plugin is an extra capability which can be used to include like type plugin or validation plugin, which we are going to discuss in tomorrow's class. Struts flow. Here you can see that the required stuff. The first one is web.xml configuration for your action servlet. Next, you need to write your struts config.xml file, and you need to write your action class, and also the form bean. If required, for the front end, write struts tag libraries as well, and if required, write property file also. And the request and response, it is as usual. There are several elements. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 we have seen. There are 2 or 3 more elements which we'll discuss during the execution. One more element, here itself it was available. Form beans. we have mentioned that our form bean was supposed to extend action form, and you need to specify the form bean details within your struts config.xml file. So that will be specified by using form beans attribute, form beans element. Form beans nothing but a collection of form bean. So you have employee bean, address bean. If you have several other beans also, you can just specify within your form bean. When you are writing the action class, the purpose of action attributes is to map the URI to the actual action class. There, the name suggests the required form bean that needs to be associated with your action class. So that means you are going to specify what is the form bean that you want to use within your action class. See, currently within our login servlet or any kind of servlet, we are creating or we are reading all the parameters, and we are preparing the employee object by ourselves, and we are passing it. Without you doing all those stuff, you can just inform to the Hibernate that for my action class, I need this form bean. Then Hibernate will verify the parameters from the request, and it will prepare the form bean, and it will call the setter methods for the form bean, and it will directly provide you that object for your action class. So that means when the controller calls the execute method, the form bean was already available, and you can simply call the getter methods to retrieve the information from the form bean. And remember, the form bean, when you are writing the JSP page, the input tag text attributes like name attribute, it should match your Java Bean properties, or else your struts won't be able to find the exact match for that, and it won't populate the data. Let us write a small example, but not with respect to our employee class or any other stuff. Then we'll change the whole code with respect to our employee. Create a struts application here, new other, struts project, just like how you have created dynamic web project. If you guys have installed properly the plugin, so you'll be able to create a struts project. I'm creating a test project. Click on finish. Let me check again. So take a look at the components. Struts test project I have created. Within my WebINF, you can see that lib folder and also several other files that are available within my WebINF itself. So when you are using plugin, it will provide the TLD files. You can see that bean TLD, HTML TLD, logic TLD. If you just want to take a look at the properties, elements that are available within your bean tag or HTML tag, you can just take a look at them. We are going to use them. And there are several other files, struts config.xml, which is a key component within our struts application. And there are two other files, validation and validation rules. As of now, you can just ignore these two. We're going to discuss these files on tomorrow's class. And finally, your web.xml file. So here you don't have any SRC folder, you have a Java source folder. You can just create all your files within your Java source. So I'm going to create a small application. So what I'll do is I'll just create a sample page. A sample page which will accept username and submits the request to action servlet, and in turn it will call action class. So I'm going to write some user action class. I will write some user.jsp page, and I want Struts to populate this information from the request parameter. So I'm going to write one action form as well. User form, user form.java file, and finally I'll configure each and everything with my struts config.xml file. Once after that, I'll forward the request to user success.jsp page, and if possible, I'll use some tag libraries to display the data. So the first component, I need to create the JSP file. User.jsp. So what we have mentioned, we are not supposed to use normal HTML tags, and we are supposed to use only the HTML tags that are available from Struts application. So go to struts.html.tld, take the URI, and write one taglib directive. Prefix, we'll prefer to use HTML only. URI equal to struts apache or slash tags.tags-html. Currently, we need to change HTML head, body, and everything, but I'm not going to do any kind of stuff now. So if you place HTML colon, you can see all the elements that are available, all the tags that are available within your HTML tag library. I'm using HTML form. So let us say I want to submit to user action. And here I just want to take one text box. So HTML colon text will be used for text box. Property is nothing but just like your name. So previously you have text box with name property. Here you are going to use HTML text with property as your displayed name. Sorry, as your name attribute. Let me close and open. Label, enter username. Finally, give a break, and then HTML colon. You have separate buttons, submit and reset buttons available within your HTML tag. Submit button will submit the page, and reset button will reset your page. So they just enhance the existing button capability, and they have written some other stuff. Yeah, I think so. So once after that, you just need to submit the request to your user action. So write one action class. New class com.test.action. This is my user action class. So super class is action class. So here itself you can just specify that so that it will be going to filled up by the Eclipse automatically. So we have mentioned that we are supposed to override one method. To override a method, I'm going to use the shortcut source override or implement methods. Here you can see that there are two versions of execute method available. Execute with action mapping, action form, HTTP servlet request, and HTTP servlet response. And the second one is with the same two parameters, but it accepts servlet request and response. Currently, we are working with respect to HTTP protocol, so that's why I'm directly selecting HTTP servlet request and response parameters execute method. Yeah, we can write JavaScript, no issues. Now we need to fill up the code at this level. Before that, we need to understand why we have why the execute method is taking these four parameters. We'll take a look at this method in a minute, but before that, let us fill our action form as well. Go and write one more class. Now during the project creation, it will ask you the server selection, right? When you say Struts project, when you click on next, there itself it will ask you the project binding. Let us go and write our form bean class user form com.test.form. So our form bean was supposed to extend one abstract class, which is action form. Click on finish. Here declare one variable, private string username, and provide getters and setters for that. So this is just like the normal Pojo class, which consists of setter and getter for my username. Currently, you can see that with my user.jsp also, I'm using the same name. Whenever you want Struts to populate the data, then you should match the properties that are available within your form bean itself. So currently, we have completed user.jsp, action form, forward the request to user success.jsp. Create one more JSP. User success.jsp file. Execute method. Our action class execute method accepts four parameters. The first one is action mapping, and the second one is action form. Third one is your HTTP servlet request, and the fourth one is your response.
So many of our students have given testimonials on how our training programs are. You will find them on kudzu.com and on our website h2kinfosys.com. On our website h2kinfosys.com, you will also find more detailed information on who we are, the courses that we offer, what each course covers. Also, if you're interested in a demo program, please register on our homepage on the left-hand side. Just give us more information about yourself and we will send you a link for a demo class. The demo class is absolutely free. Experience our commitment by just attending an orientation workshop at no cost. Our team of faculty and advisors are here to guide you with the right information. If you still have more questions, please feel free to call us. Call us at 770-777-1269. This is a United States number. If you're calling from the UK, call us at 020-337-17615. You can also email us at training@h2kinfosys.com or h2kinfosys@gmail.com. Thank you for watching our videos. We wish you a great career in information technology.